3 out of 5 catastrophic brake jobs that roll in here didn't start with pads or rotors. They started with old fluid. Ignoring it can easily land you a $3,000 repair bill. Over the last 20 years in this bay, I've seen that one mistake ruin countless family road trips. Today, I'll show you the 7 stages of that failure, counting down from number 7 to number 1. And at the end, I'll share one pro secret that prevents this entire nightmare. From starting, let's get into it. Number 7. The top of the mountain. The ignored warning. You're getting ready for that big road trip. The one with the scenic mountain pass. You do all the right things. You check your tire pressure, top off your washer fluid, and glance at the oil life monitor. You feel prepared, confident. But here's the classic mistake, the one that kicks off this whole disaster. You never once think about the brake fluid. You assume if the pedal feels firm in the driveway, everything's fine. The truth is, the problem is already there, hiding in plain sight. Common brake fluid, the DOT3 and DOT4 stuff in 99% of cars, is hygroscopic. That's just a shop talk word meaning it loves to absorb water right out of the air. It seeps in through microscopic pores in the rubber hoses and past the seals. After about 2 years, that fluid can easily have 2 to 3% water contamination. You can't see it, you can't smell it, and you can't feel it yet. But a simple $15 electronic tester pen could tell you instantly. You just dip the 2 little prongs into the reservoir, and the indicator lights go from green for good, to yellow for caution, to red for danger. Most owners' manuals, like the one in that Honda CR-V I just serviced, recommend a fluid flush every 2 to 3 years for this exact reason. But it's the most skipped piece of maintenance I know of. People see a full reservoir of clean-looking fluid and think they're safe. So you start your descent, feeling confident, not realizing you've already failed the first and most important test. Your brake system is compromised before you even hit the first curve. Now, the fun begins. You're a few miles down the grade, gently riding the brakes to keep your speed in check. The pads and rotors are getting hot, which is completely normal. We're talking 300–400 degrees Fahrenheit. That heat soaks right through the steel caliper pistons and into your brake fluid. If your fluid were fresh, its boiling point would be well over 400 degrees, no problem at all. But yours isn't fresh. It's 2, maybe 3 years old, and it's loaded with water. And what does water do at 212 degrees? It boils. That 2 or 3% water contamination drags the boiling point of your entire brake fluid system way, way down, sometimes to under 300 degrees. As you keep braking, the fluid temperature soars past that point, and the water inside it instantly flashes into steam. You've now got bubbles of compressible gas in your hydraulic lines. Here's the physics of it. Your brake system is designed to move a liquid which doesn't compress, but gas squishes easily. So you press the pedal, and instead of that firm, immediate bite you rely on, it feels spongy, mushy. Your foot travels farther and farther toward the floor just to get the same slowing power. You're compressing steam instead of pushing fluid, a terrifying phenomenon we call vapor lock. You have to start pumping the pedal, desperately trying to build some kind of pressure. You're fighting a losing battle with physics just to stay in control, and that feeling of a dead pedal is the first loud scream from a system in deep trouble. Number 5, the icy switchback. When ABS helps hurt you, you come around a tight, shady corner and hit a patch of loose gravel or black ice. Your tires slip for a split second, and the anti-lock brake system kicks in just like it's supposed to. You feel that rapid buzzing, pulsing feeling under your foot as the system's computer fires tiny solenoid valves, rapidly applying and releasing pressure to each wheel hundreds of times a second to prevent a skid. It's a modern miracle of engineering. Or is it? Here's the part nobody ever thinks about. That ABS hydraulic modulator, the expensive brain of your brake system, runs on 12-volt DC power. Those little solenoids are basically electromagnets opening and closing valves. In clean, dry brake fluid, this is no big deal. But in your old, waterlogged fluid, it's a catastrophe in the making. Water conducts electricity. Suddenly, every time the ABS fires, you're introducing an electrical current into a wet, metal environment, filled with dissimilar metals like steel and aluminum. This process, electrolysis, is like hitting fast-forward on corrosion. Every pulse from the ABS system is like a little shock treatment that encourages rust to form on the delicate steel valve pistons and corrosion on the aluminum valve bodies. The very safety system designed to save you from a skid is now actively helping to destroy itself from the inside out. I see it all the time on cars from humid climates like Florida or areas with lots of mountain driving where the ABS gets a regular workout. The safety system does its job, but each time it does, it brings the whole unit one step closer to a very expensive death. Number 4. The valley floor. The silent damage. You've made it down the mountain. The road flattens out. The brakes cool down, and the pedal starts to feel firm and normal again. You breathe a huge sigh of relief, thinking the worst is over. You write off that spongy pedal as just brake fade from the steep hill. A close call, but no harm done. But you're dead wrong. The real damage is still happening, just quietly now. With every mile you drive, that electrochemical corrosion, that electrolysis that started in the switchbacks, doesn't need heat or heavy braking. To continue, all it needs is the two things you still have in your brake lines: moisture and a slight electrical potential. Between the different metals in the ABS module, it's a slow, silent cancer. Microscopic particles of rust and aluminum oxide are flaking off the valve seats and floating around in your brake fluid like grit. The finely machined surfaces inside that expensive module, engineered to tolerances of 1/1000th of an inch, are being pitted and scarred. You feel nothing wrong. The car drives perfectly on flat ground, stopping at red lights just like it always does. A customer from Arizona brought in a truck last year with a perfectly firm pedal, but when we flushed the fluid, it came out looking like muddy coffee. The damage was already done. You can't just wish the water away. It's in there, doing its damage, 24 hours a day, just waiting for the right moment to make itself known. Number 3. The stop sign at the bottom. The sudden pressure loss. Your road trip is almost over. You're pulling into that little town at the base of the mountain, heading for a stop sign. You press the brake pedal, expecting a normal, boring stop. Instead, your foot sinks, going way farther down than it should, sometimes almost hitting the floorboards. A flash of pure panic hits you as the car doesn't slow down as fast as you expect. This is the moment of failure. Those tiny, gritty particles of corrosion have finally done their job. One of the internal valves in the ABS module, most likely one of the isolation valves that's supposed to hold pressure, is now leaking internally. It's either stuck partially open by a tiny piece of debris, or its finely machined seat is so pitted and corroded that it can no longer create a perfect seal. So when you press the pedal, instead of all that hydraulic pressure going to the calipers to squeeze the brakes, a significant portion of it is now bypassing through that internal leak, going nowhere. On some cars, you might get an ABS or brake warning light on the dash just before this happens, but often you don't. The system's self-test might not run until the next startup. The first real symptom is the pedal suddenly going soft during a routine stop. The damage was gradual. a slow death by 1,000 cuts. But the failure feels instant and absolute. It's the one thing every driver dreads, and it's the direct result of the chemical chain reaction that started with a little bit of water at the top of the mountain. Number 2, the limp to the shop. No confidence. You manage to pump the brakes and get the car stopped, heart pounding in your chest. You pull over, hands shaking. After a minute, you cautiously try the pedal again. It might feel a little firmer now. That the leaking valve has shifted, but you know something is seriously, fundamentally wrong. The trust is gone. You're now faced with a terrible choice. Call for an expensive tow truck, or try to limp the car to the nearest repair shop. Every stoplight becomes a source of pure anxiety. You leave huge 50-foot gaps to the car in front of you. You find yourself instinctively covering the emergency brake handle, your hand hovering over it at every intersection. I had a customer once, a dad with his family in the van, who drove 20 miles like this on a busy highway. He used the handbrake for every single stop because his foot went to the floor every time. The psychological stress is almost as bad as the mechanical failure. Your car is no longer a tool of freedom. It's an unpredictable 2-ton machine that might fail you at any second. This loss of confidence is something you can't put a price on. You're no longer thinking about your trip or your destination. You're just praying, pedal pump by pedal pump, that you can make it to a garage without causing a wreck. That $50 you saved by skipping a fluid flush a year ago seems like a pretty bad deal right now. Number 1, the small-town quote, stranded and stunned. You finally make it to a local shop. The mechanic, a guy who looks like he's seen it all, takes one look at the symptoms, hooks up a professional scan tool, and comes back with the bad news. The ABS hydraulic control unit has an internal valve failure. It needs to be replaced. You're hoping for a simple fix, maybe bleeding the brakes or a cheap sensor. But he starts talking about the cost, and your jaw hits the floor. He pulls up the part on his computer and shows you. On many modern cars, the ABS module is a complex, non-serviceable unit. You can't just clean it out or replace one little valve. The manufacturers seal them at the factory. You have to replace the entire expensive block. Looking at a supplier like WorldPack or even the dealer network, the module itself can cost anywhere from $500 to over $2,500, depending on the make and model. Then you have the 2 to 3 hours of labor to install it, which is tricky work in a tight space. And after that, you need a full system bleed using a specialized scan tool to cycle the ABS pump and get all the air out. When all is said and done, the quote comes in, anywhere from $1,500 to $6,000. You're stranded, hours from home, with a repair bill that costs more than the whole vacation. And the mechanic tells you the simple, brutal truth. This all could have been prevented with a $100 brake fluid flush 2 years ago. So that's the journey. From a simple, ignored fluid check to a massive, trip-ending repair bill. But you stuck around. So here's that pro secret I promised. The next time you're at the shop for an oil change, don't just ask them to check the brake fluid. Ask them to bring out the electronic tester pen and show you the reading right there, with your own eyes. It takes 10 seconds. Green is good to go. Yellow means you should plan a flush soon. If it's red, get it done today. This little step keeps everyone honest. It proves the work is necessary, and it protects you from getting sold a service you don't need. It puts you in control. Remember, brake fluid is a maintenance item. It's not a lifetime fluid, no matter what anyone tells you. A flush every 2 years, or whenever that tester shows its time, is the cheapest insurance you can possibly buy. Against this kind of failure, check your service schedule before your next road trip. It might just save you a fortune. If this saved you a headache, tap like.